On the afternoon of November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, a man walked into Portland International Airport and bought a one-way ticket to Seattle. He paid cash. He gave his name as Dan Cooper. Nothing about him stood out. He was calm, polite, middle-aged, neatly dressed in a dark business suit, white shirt, black tie, and loafers. He carried a briefcase. He did not hurry. He did not appear nervous. He blended in perfectly with the holiday travelers moving through the terminal. Flight 305 was a short, routine trip. Portland to Seattle took less than half an hour in the air. The aircraft was a Boeing 727-100, a common commercial jet at the time. 36 passengers boarded, along with a crew of 6. Cooper took a seat in the rear of the cabin. Shortly after takeoff, he ordered a bourbon and soda. He lit a cigarette. Smoking was still allowed on airplanes then, and nothing about his behavior seemed unusual. About 15 minutes into the flight, Cooper handed a small note to a flight attendant. At first, she assumed it was a phone number and slipped it into her pocket without reading it. Cooper leaned toward her and spoke quietly. He told her she should look at the note. He said he had a bomb. The note was simple and direct. Cooper claimed there was an explosive device in his briefcase. He demanded $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes. He instructed her to sit beside him. When she did, he opened the briefcase just enough for her to see what appeared to be red cylinders, wires, and a battery. Whether the device was real or fake would never be proven, but in that moment, no one was willing to take the risk. The cockpit was informed. The captain contacted air traffic control. Northwest Orient Airlines notified the authorities, and the FBI was brought in. Cooper remained calm. He did not threaten anyone directly. He did not raise his voice. He appeared in complete control, not only of the situation, but of himself. As the aircraft approached Seattle, Cooper dictated specific instructions. The money was to be delivered in $20 bills. The parachutes were to include both civilian and military models. He insisted on multiple parachutes, a demand that would later fuel endless speculation about whether he intended to take a hostage or whether he was deliberately preventing the authorities from sabotaging the equipment. The plane circled the Seattle area for nearly 2 hours while the ransom was assembled. On the ground, FBI agents scrambled. $200,000 in unmarked bills was collected. Serial numbers were recorded. 4 parachutes were gathered. Everything Cooper asked for was prepared exactly as requested. Flight 305 landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport just before 6 in the evening. The passengers had no idea what was happening. Cooper instructed the crew to keep the cabin calm. Once the aircraft was parked, the ransom was delivered through the rear stairs. Cooper counted the money. He examined the parachutes. Satisfied, he allowed all 36 passengers to leave the plane. No one was harmed. There was no violence. Cooper even returned the flight attendant's pen. Only 4 crew members remained on board. Cooper then issued his next set of instructions. The aircraft was to take off again, this time heading south toward Mexico City, with a refueling stop planned in Reno. He demanded the plane fly low and slow, with the landing gear down, flaps partially extended, and the rear air stairs lowered after takeoff. The Boeing 727 was one of the few commercial aircraft capable of being flown with its rear stairs deployed in flight. Cooper seemed to know this. He also appeared familiar with the aircraft's operating limits. To investigators later, this suggested aviation knowledge, military experience, or both. As the plane climbed into the night sky, Cooper told the flight attendant to go into the cockpit and remain there. He stayed alone in the cabin with the money and the parachutes. Outside, the weather was poor. It was raining. Winds were strong. Visibility was low. Below them stretched the dark forests and river valleys of southwestern Washington. Sometime around 8:13 p.m., the crew felt a sudden pressure change. The aircraft lurched slightly. A warning light illuminated, indicating the rear stairs had been lowered. Cooper had jumped. He was never seen again. The FBI launched one of the largest manhunts in American history. The operation was given the code name NORJAC, short for Northwest Hijacking. Agents combed the suspected drop zone on foot, by helicopter, and by aircraft. They searched forests, rivers, and mountains. No parachute was found. No body was recovered. No clothing was discovered. Investigators debated whether Cooper could have survived the jump at all. He had leapt into a stormy night, wearing a business suit and loafers, carrying a heavy bundle of cash. The terrain below was rugged and unforgiving. Some believed he must have died on impact. Others argued that his planning suggested confidence and preparation, that he may have known exactly where he was jumping and how to survive. The evidence Cooper left behind was limited. He abandoned his clip-on tie and tie clasp on the plane. He left behind cigarette butts. For years, those items were examined, tested, and retested. Early forensic technology yielded little. Decades later, microscopic particles found on the tie would suggest exposure to rare metals, possibly linked to aerospace or advanced manufacturing work. But even that clue proved inconclusive. The money became another mystery. Every bill's serial number had been recorded. Banks were alerted. Nothing surfaced. For 9 years, not a single dollar from the ransom was found. Then, in 1980, an 8-year-old boy digging in the sand along the Columbia River uncovered 3 bundles of deteriorating $20 bills. The serial numbers matched Cooper's ransom. The total recovered amounted to just under $6,000. The discovery raised more questions than answers. How did the money get there? Had Cooper lost part of the ransom during the jump? Had the river carried it downstream? Or had someone buried it deliberately? No additional money was ever recovered. As the years passed, the case took on a life of its own. The name D.B. Cooper entered American folklore, the result of a reporter's error that misidentified the hijacker's initials. Despite the mistake, the name stuck. Suspects emerged by the dozens, hundreds, eventually. The FBI investigated military veterans, skydivers, engineers, airline employees, and thrill seekers. One of the most frequently cited suspects was Richard McCoy Jr., a former Army pilot who hijacked a plane in a strikingly similar manner months later. McCoy was eventually killed in a shootout with police, but the FBI ruled him out as Cooper, citing differences in age, appearance, and behavior. Other suspects came and went. Some were eliminated quickly. Others lingered for years, supported by circumstantial evidence, handwriting comparisons, or family suspicions. None could be conclusively tied to the crime. Throughout it all, the FBI maintained a careful stance. They never officially stated whether they believed Cooper survived or died. Internally, opinions varied. Some agents believed the jump was survivable, especially for someone with training. Others believed the conditions made survival unlikely. What made the case so enduring was not just the mystery, but the nature of the crime itself. Cooper was polite. He was methodical. He did not hurt anyone. He did not brandish a weapon. He vanished without a trace. In an era increasingly marked by violent hijackings, Cooper stood apart. His actions also changed aviation forever. In the years following the hijacking, aircraft were modified to prevent rear stair deployment in flight. Security procedures were tightened. The era of casual airport access ended. Cooper's crime helped bring about the modern age of air travel security. By the early 2000s, investigative leads had dwindled. New suspects offered nothing that could be proven. In 2016, after 45 years, the FBI officially closed the case. The Bureau stated there were no new credible leads, and that resources would be better spent elsewhere. Still, the mystery remains. Somewhere between Portland and Reno, a man jumped from a commercial airliner into the night. He took with him $200,000 and the answer to one of the most enduring questions in American criminal history. Did he die in the woods? Did he survive and quietly reintegrate into society? Was the jump a carefully calculated escape or a desperate gamble? More than half a century later, no one can say for certain. There are no confirmed sightings, no death certificate, no confession, just a tie, a few scraps of money, and a legend that refuses to fade. On that Thanksgiving Eve in 1971, Dan Cooper stepped off a plane and disappeared into history. And to this day, the skyjacker known as D.B. Cooper has never been found.